Welcome back. Let's start with the first topic, continuous integration. Continuous integration is this blue box over here, is a development practice where developers integrate code into a shared repository frequently, preferably several times a day. And each integration can then be verified by an automated build and automated tests. Now, let's unpack this statement so it makes sense in plain English. Continuous integration is a way for developers to use a shared repository like GitHub, and we know all about GitHub by now. And this shared repository is going to be used throughout the day. Each pull request of a bug fix or a new feature must go through an automatic build step that may include things like tests and linting to make sure that all the tests pass, all our unit tests pass, maybe we haven't made any linting or syntax error, and that everything builds, our project builds as expected. We make sure that the code is compatible with the rest of the code base. Now, one of the key benefits of integrating regularly is that you can detect errors quickly and locate them more easily. Because each change that is introduced is going to be small, and it's going to pinpoint the specific change that introduced a defect. If we make a PR or a pull request on GitHub, we run the tests and those tests fail, well, we know right away that that PR needs to get fixed. And even if it introduces a bug after it's been merged, if a bug suddenly appears, well, we know that this pull request most likely did it because it was recently introduced. So what's the point of all of this? The point is for companies to make sure that code from many developers has as little as possible bugs and that it stays consistent as much as possible. Now, I'm going to take you through a setup of this so you can actually see what I mean when I say run a build step like tests and builds. So don't worry, we're going to get to that. I want you to just have this point across though, that this process makes sure that code of the individual developers meet a certain standard. And that this way, no matter how big our teams, we can make sure that individual developers' work don't divert from the original code base. We keep things in line and in check. And continuous integration is that. When you combine the process of making a PR often and frequently with automated testing, that is, tests that run automatically, and you include things as automatic building and then other developers checking the PR and then finally merging it. By doing this, you avoid the integration hell that usually happens when people wait for release day to merge everything. Let's say the day before the big release, everybody that has been working on a feature, everybody on different features is going to merge all at once. And again, without actually facing the problem, it's going to be hard to explain this. So we're actually going to implement it in our RoboFriends app. But I want you to just remember this. Continuous integration puts a great emphasis on testing automation to check that the application is not broken whenever a new commit or a PR pull request is integrated into the main branch. You see over here that we make a PR, the tests automatically run for us, and we run the build and make sure that everything passes. And that's automatically done to make sure that before we merge, before somebody reviews our pull request, those tests pass. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one is this yellow square that overlaps continuous integration called continuous delivery. And continuous delivery is the practice of keeping your code base deployable at any point. Beyond making sure that your application in this blue part are integrated into the main branch, we have a few extra steps. You see, it has to have all the configurations necessary to push in production whenever we want. Continuous delivery is the idea that we're always going to keep things ready so that when we want to deliver a product, deploy to production, maybe have an update to a product, we can do so. And we have this extra step of acceptance tests, such as we want this feature to do this. And you might have somebody that's a QA or a quality analyst, or QA who is doing tests, or a product owner that checks to make sure that all the features are implemented. And then manually, a developer or a team lead clicks on a button that says deploy to production. Continuous delivery, as you can see, is an extension of continuous integration to make sure that you can release new changes to your customers quickly in a sustainable way. This means that on top of having automated your testing, you also have to automate the release process so that you can deploy your production, as I said before, at any point in time. In theory, with continuous delivery process in your company, you can decide to release daily, weekly, every night, or whatever suits your business requirement. But the idea of continuous delivery is that ideally, just like we did with continuous integration and making small but often PRs and merging our pull requests and features as often as possible, with continuous delivery, it works really, really well when you start doing small release batches. You might have noticed on your phone how your apps get always updated. You have new patches, new versions almost every week. And they practice continuous delivery of making small incremental changes to the app that are easy to troubleshoot in case there's a problem and they have to go back and fix things. All right, it's not just these two. I know the title says Cicd, and I lied a bit. There's one more, and that is continuous deployment. It's closely related to continuous delivery, and it is referring to keeping your application deployable at any point in time, just like we have with continuous delivery. But there's one small difference. Unlike continuous delivery, continuous deployment goes straight into production. That is, there's no manual developer or team lead or manager that clicks a button and says, all right, all the acceptance tests have passed, everything checks out, I'm going to deploy to production. Continuous deployment is a philosophy where you say, if acceptance tests are automatically passed, well, automatically it's going to deploy to production. And you might have noticed continuous delivery when you look at GitHub pages. With GitHub pages, such as the RoboFriends Redux, we see that we have our app deployed. And anytime I merge into master a new version, maybe I want to title this to something different. We might want to make some changes here, maybe change the title, maybe change the color. But anytime I merge into master here, this link is going to be updated because it references whatever is in master. And this is similar to continuous deployment. Every time it's merged and all my tests pass, well, whatever the users see or is deployed is automatically going to be changed as well. Now, why am I teaching you all this? It's because continuous deployment and continuous delivery have developed as best practices for keeping your application in a good state, in a deployable state at any point. And this is just good practice to have. This allows your team to move fast while keeping high quality standards that can be checked automatically. You see, a lot of top companies practice this way of developing their code base. As a matter of fact, if it's your first couple of days at a large company, you'll probably be getting introduced to this process, so you're familiar with it. So just remember this. Continuous deployment goes one step further than the continuous delivery. With this practice, every change that passes all stages of your production, what we call pipeline, this process is released to your customers. There's no human intervention, and only a failed test will prevent a new change to be deployed to production. Now, once again, this is going to be really, really confusing if you see this for the first time. We're going to actually build a pipeline, a build step, a continuous integration step, so that you understand what the benefits are and how to do it at your company. However, let's talk a little bit more about this in the next video. I'll see you in that one. Bye-bye.